Portland diner owner is under attack for yelling at toddler, Facebook posts. The article, which can be found here, and it says something that is really being overlooked by the mainstream media, says it all. It tells the story of what happened from a media's biased point of view, which is given an elaborate tale of what sounds like an angry restaurant owner, but there's one key statement that needs to be considered. Before she rose her voice to say this needs to stop, it clearly states that she actually made an attempt to have them leave. As the paper says, after attempts to get the family to leave or to take the girl outside were made, that's when she actually made the statement. I think that we need to review all the information before we just cast judgment with the owner of Martha's Diner in Portland. Today people expect that they have no right to be offended, and the media uses this to their advantage. It's all about selling the story. The owner of Martha's Diner clearly described the situation on her Facebook. While I understand most people want to bury things under the rug, I think honesty is a virtue. The fact of the matter is that the story posted by the owner makes it clear that the parents were actually breaking the law, and I certainly don't condone their behavior, for trespassing is actually illegal. The owner had hinted to the parents that it was time to go by offering a check, and the parents ignored that request and simply continued talking and ignoring their child. Did they think for 1 second to give that child the pancakes that were in front of them was in front of the child on the table? No. As a parent, I realize that my daughter is at the table, and I do not ignore her. We all get distracted from time to time with a discussion, but that is not the same as keeping food from within reach of your child and letting them cry for 40 minutes, then refusing to leave by ignoring the owner's request to do so. From what is said, they left the pancakes in the middle of the table where the child could not get to them, and that was likely why the baby was crying. That, combined with the fact that both parents were in their own little worlds, paying no attention to their child. Later, the owner finally requested that the couple leave directly. Just like in our own home, if we ask someone to leave, it's time for them to leave. After the parents ignored this, the owner did indeed raise her voice and say that this has to stop. If someone wouldn't leave my house, I might just raise my voice too. Who wouldn't? The parents ignored the owner after the first hint. Then, the direct request, and a direct, stern demand, finally got the parents to understand that it was time for them to leave. Instead of calling the police and charging these parents with trespassing, she handled the problem herself. Would it have been better if on her part she called the police? Maybe some would say so, but would it have really made any positive change? The law states that a person is guilty of trespassing if he or she remains in any place in defiance of a lawful order to leave that area that was personally communicated to that person by the owner or another authorized person. Violation of this paragraph crime under Class E is punishable by up to 6 months of incarceration and $1,000 in money as a fine. This information was taken directly from the state of Maine on the laws of trespassing, which the owner likely knows about, as most business owners do. Instead of charging them with a crime, she gave them a wake-up call. Who can't agree that two parents ignoring their child for 40 minutes, depriving them of food, and breaking the law doesn't deserve to be told that this is enough? I think most of us agree that if someone was in our home having dinner and we asked them to leave for whatever reason, and they refuse, that we may get a bit frustrated. Some people would even call the police and have them arrested, others would handle it themselves personally, just as this business owner did. Despite what the owner writes on Facebook, we need to remember that we all have a freedom to speak, and a freedom of speech under the First Amendment. If she's upset, she has every right to be. When the media smears people and demonizes them, shouldn't they be upset? I stand by our First Amendment, and we have a right to be offended by someone, but for the media to demonize someone for telling two inept parents to wake up, well, I say shame on our media and shame on the parents for treating their child like a pet, ignoring it until they wanted its attention. In my opinion, despite anything the owner may say or post online about her experience at work that day, if anyone has any apologizing to do, it's the parents. They owe it to the owner and also to the child, but we know that will never happen.